Santiago, thank God, has very strict building codes, very strict. And to my knowledge, no building really collapsed in our area. The steeples of the churches did in many cases because, they go crazy like this, or the light poles of the street, again, anything that shakes fast, that is thin, will collapse. The airport and the access to the airport, the ramps, all of them fell. So it's this kind of stuff that happens. It's not the big, horrible collapse of buildings. But guess what? All the elevators get their little shaking and they don't operate anymore. And that means the entire city loses all the elevators at the same time. And even if everybody knew how to fix, or we had half the population able to fix elevators, there's no way that you can fix them all at the same time. And it took several weeks, if not months, to get the entire city back operating with the elevators. What does that mean? For example, my dear father, who is 90 and lives in a 5th floor, he could not go in and out. And nobody who was, who needed minimum assistance is locked. You lose your freedom until his elevator was fixed, and it took good 3 weeks. He could not go out, which is very frustrating, and it causes other type of problems. So elevators, we have to be prepared that something like this happen. People who live in very high-rise buildings, you have to have a contingency plan because you may not want to go up and down 30 floors or 20 floors on an ongoing basis. The second component with that is that there's little damages that you don't see. If it is gas, natural gas, you smell it. So you know there's something happening and there is a leak, and we know how to manage that. You have to have the wrench to close your gas valve. You have to know where it is, and you have to have practice because, by the way, they're strong. Now that I know this, I've practiced with mine in San Francisco, and they're difficult to shut down. So those are the little physical surprises. The paintings in the walls go, around like this. They really mark an arc marked in the wall. This is the kind of movement that you have. So we need to see how can we attach things. Don't put heavy things where they can fall on top of you, because that's the kind of damages and pain that people went through that were unnecessary. That if you know your NERT training in a low impact earthquake, because our city was prepared, you still have to know how to take care of this. So that's on the physical side of all buildings and houses and all that. Mental preparation, I think, includes something that I had not done for Chile, because I never expected that while visiting, I would be living such a strong earthquake. So I have learned that whenever you are in a region where there is earthquake, you need to walk the walk. You need to at least one moment take the time and say, if this started shaking tonight, what do I do so that your leg knows where to go out? You have the slippers. This happens if this happens during the night, right? And you have done the route out of the house, or what is the safest, identify the safe space, so that your mind immediately goes into, I know what to do, instead of the blank I had in Chile, because I had really not even thought about it. It was not something I was expecting to happen. The second component is having had a conversation, a plan. You must know who is somebody that you need to contact, or if you don't have any telephone connection, as it may happen, what is a place where you're going to meet with the people that you love or the people that you care. Have a plan with your neighbors. In my case, in San Francisco now, for example, I live in a neighborhood where many families have young children. I have offered them, because I am more at home than other people, that I'll be glad to help them. And I have water, I have my Red Cross backpack with everything I need, all the materials that my NERT training has prepared me to have, food for several days, and we have introduced ourselves, me with the children in the neighborhood close to my house, so in the event that the parents are away while working, they know they can come to my house, or that we are going to meet at the Julius Can Park, which is where we are supposed to meet in my neighborhood if we had an earthquake during the day. So Emotionally, the shock is very strong, but I think if we know also how to comfort ourselves, hugging, holding hands, saying everything will be okay, you don't need to have a physical cut in your hand to have a terrified moment, and that a simple hug and saying you're not alone, we are going to go through this, and thank God, we have people we know around the neighborhood. It will make it a far less severe experience than I went through because I was not prepared. So I think that small steps and practicing. Please remember, every paper that is important in your life may disappear. If something collapses on top of your computer, your files, I have now backed up absolutely everything in my Gmail email. So any email or any document that comes to my computer is backed up immediately into Gmail. So if all my files get lost, I have a backup and I can retrieve them anywhere in the world. Same with my documents. I am a legalized citizen, so I'm always paranoid I'm going to lose my legal papers or my passport, as some of the people in Katrina that lost all their documents. You have to have them, ideally copies, mailed somewhere else. Have somebody in your family or friends outside the state that have a backup copy for you. Because even though I have now my little bag to run out of the house, I know that when it gets to be so bad, you are not thinking about your jewelry or your money or your documents. You just get out. So everything that you can delegate and have copies out in another place, or CDs with important pictures and all that, have them somewhere else or have them back up electronically so you can be at peace and be an agent of help, be a NERT member and help us in the community so we can all be good neighbors to each other.
Hi, my name is Lieutenant Erica Articeros from the San Francisco Fire Department. Today I had the pleasure of speaking with Isabel Valdes about her experience in the Chilean earthquake. And I wanted to talk to you about what to do to keep yourself safe when the earth starts shaking. If you experience an earthquake, you want to drop, cover, and hold. Protect your head and neck, and hold on to the nearest table, desk, or chair that you can. The earth produces a lot of shaking movement, and you need to hold on so that the item doesn't slide across the room away from you. If you're indoors when the earth starts shaking, you want to stay indoors and drop, cover, and hold immediately. Do not run outside of the building because you don't want to go from the known to the unknown. Once the earth stops shaking, you can slowly decide what your next move should be. If you're outdoors when the earth starts shaking, you want to move to an open area, free of falling glass or bricks from the side of a building and street lamps. An open area when you're outdoors is the safest place to be when the earth starts shaking. I've learned this through my experience in community education for the fire department. I'm currently assigned to coordinate NERT, the Neighborhood Emergency Response Team. NERT was started in 1990, immediately following the 1989 earthquake here in San Francisco. And it was started by a group of community members that asked the fire department and the mayor, what should we have done in 1989? What was our response supposed to look like, and how could we have been a better assistance to ourselves and our neighbors? The fire department has been offering this training program for the last 20 plus years in how to keep yourself safe. It starts with the basic preparedness information that Isabel talked about today. And we also teach emergency response skills in triage, treating injured people, in search and rescue, rescuing people from under heavy objects, and then how to operate as part of a neighborhood response team that's coordinated with the neighbors that live around you and the fire department in our response. Because when the big one happens, we're all going to be in this together. You can find the program on our website, www.sfgov.org/sfnert, and sign up for a training. There's no charge to you. I hope you'll join myself and neighbors like Isabel that are preparing for the earthquake and practicing to work together in neighborhood teams and with the fire department when we have an earthquake here in San Francisco.